Welcome to Birthright, a podcast about joy and healing in Black birth. Hi, everyone. It's Kimberly Seals Allers. Thank you for joining me on the Birthright Podcast Extras. As you know, I have my most special guest to date, my mother, Alma Seals, who's here. We are together in South Carolina, talking about my birth and my birth story, as well as what it was like for me as a young child. So many of you may be curious about what Kimberly was like as a baby. Well, here's the person who can answer it. So, Mommy, tell everyone, what was I like as a baby?
Well, you were very active.
Okay.
And how far back do you want to go? From an infant?
Yeah, let's go back to infancy.
All right. Well, when you were first born, we had trouble with your milk.
Okay.
And we tried 3 different formulas for you. And finally, we found one that worked. One of them actually turned your stool green.
Oh, wow.
So the doctor says, no, we can't use that one. And we finally found, I think it was with the carnation milk that we used. After that, well, you were not a very quiet baby. You cried.
I cried?
Oh, yes, you cried. In fact, Daddy would come home from work, and he would eat dinner, and then he would take over.
You had to do shifts?
Yes. And then I would go to sleep until 11, and then I'd get up again, and then he'd go to sleep because he had to go to work the next day. So, yes, you were quite challenging. And so my sister, Aunt Retha, said, oh, there's something you're doing wrong. There's something you're doing wrong because she's a normal, healthy child, and she should sleep sometime. And so they said, go in the room, and you guys go to sleep, and we'll stay out here, her and her husband, Uncle Calvin. We'll stay out here, and we'll be up with Kimberly. Well, you kept them up all night, and she apologized. So she found out that I wasn't doing anything wrong. It was just your temperament. So
I was fussy all the time?
All the time, yes. Yes, most of the time. And then we went out one time, and we were at one of Daddy's cousin's house, and someone made a loud noise, and it startled you, and you started up.
Uh-oh.
And we looked at each other, and that was a signal. Time to go home. We didn't want anyone to say anything to us about our crying baby.
No. I'm like, I thought crying babies is a good sign. Maybe I needed a hug.
Oh, you got all the hugs. Crying kept you in arms.
Oh, boy. I don't know what was wrong with me. I was tough to figure out from an early age.
Right. And sometimes they say some babies are colicky, but the doctor ruled that out. So, but you settled down eventually. We took a trip. Aunt Virginia and Uncle Lewis in Washington wanted us to come to visit you and visit them. And what did we do? Oh, we went because we kept begging off, saying that we'll wait until you calm down. So we finally took the trip. And
was I quiet in the car?
You were okay in the car.
Okay.
Because the car does something for babies.
Yes.
And so we got there, we visited, we put you in a drawer. You slept all night.
In a drawer?
In a drawer, yes, because we didn't have to worry about you falling out.
Right.
Yeah, and we weren't in our own bedroom, so that was a safe place. And so you know what they say.
What?
That we've been lying on the baby.
See? Thank you, Aunt Virginia and Uncle Lewis. Y'all knew.
No. It was you, but it was doable, yeah. And
how long did that last?
Well, by the time you were 3 months, you settled down. You settled down, yeah. There's someone even mentioned gripe water, but I thought, no, I wouldn't give you that. And you had to go to a certain area in Brooklyn to get that.
Oh. So tell me about, what I was like as I was a little bit of a toddler.
Oh, as a toddler, you were always very curious. And you were a good girl. Yes. Very imaginative. Do you remember having your little friend, your imaginary friend?
No.
Yes, you had an imaginary friend that you would talk to sometimes. And in fact, one day I was downstairs and I heard you talking, and I said, "Who are you talking to?" And you said, "My friend." And I said, "Oh, your imaginary friend." And you said, "Yes, I know she's not real, but she's my friend."
Oh. I always had a creative mind. Always had a creative mind.
Yes, you did.
I do remember the bird watching. I remember I was always writing something.
Mm-hmm.
I remember when my daddy would always try to get me a typewriter because I always loved to be writing. I remember I used to do radio shows where I was the guest and the host.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah, that was interesting. Were you ever concerned?
No, because I just considered you were a spirited person, and so let it go. Yeah.
Well, I have to say, in my book, The Big Letdown, when I thanked my parents, one of the things I thanked them for was never making me feel like I was a weirdo kid. When I thought about it, I was a strange kid. I had a lot of interesting interests. I remember Daddy taking me bird watching, and I remember my stamp collecting phase. I had a couple of things. And then, of course, the imaginary friends and the radio show with just me as the host and the guests. But somehow you all never made me feel like I was an interesting kid. I was just allowed to be myself with my books and my writing and my poems.
Yes. And you know, some of it may be because when Katrina started school, and I'd go sit at the desk.
Mm-hmm.
And, of course, you went too. And so that's what you did at the desk. You would just write or color in the book.
Mm-hmm.
But you also listened.
Mm.
And so by the time you started school, you not only did your work, but you did the other children's work.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Oh, that's been interesting. So here I am, how many years later? And now you have the privilege of being a grandmother. What's that been like for you?
Oh, it's been wonderful. Well, I felt that being a mother was wonderful too. But grandparents is something special.
That's true.
Yeah, they're special. You don't have responsibility, so you can expend all your energy and during the time with them, doing different things. And I always like to do things. So I've enjoyed the grands, and of course, when they're young, they're the greatest grandma in the world. You have all the little notes to prove it.
Yeah, my children definitely had the spoiled grandparents experience. But that's the beauty of it. But I feel like mothering has changed so much. What advice would you have for mothers today? There's a lot of pressure on mothers, and they have so much more than even what I had. I mean, technology, gadgets, so much more than obviously you had to manage mothering. But what would you say to someone who's a new mother today?
Well, as a new parent, I did use a book.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I used that, but I used common sense along with it. So I felt.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that, as you said, mothering is different today. Circumstances are different. A lot of mothers don't have the luxury of staying home with their children.
Yeah.
They have to work to supplement the income. And so that's quite taxing. And then to have to drop off the children, let's say at a sitter or something, and then as soon as they finish work, go right back to pick it. So the parents don't get a break.
Yep.
And I feel that everybody needs a break.
Mm-hmm.
That's why sometimes I say, Daddy, I need a break today. And I take off by myself and have my day with my friends. And then it was a chance to recoup.
Right.
Yeah. And I think sometimes that young parents today don't have that,
mm-hmm.
And they need that support because families are all over. You're still in New York, I'm here. That support system
has changed a lot for people.
Yes.
People have had to move for economics and jobs or
Mm-hmm.
retirement costs.
Yeah.
And people don't have their community the way we used to.
Absolutely not. And even within the communities, you don't know each other.
Yeah.
So a community is not a support as it used to be in most cases. Maybe one or two.
Yeah.
So life is very much different today.
Well, that's very different, but still lots of joy to be had.
Yes.
Lots of good memories. to be had. But I think people just need to focus on that.
That's what it is. They have to make that a goal, just like their jobs. Parenting is a job.
Yeah, it's true. It's a thankless one with no pay.
That's it. But I won't say thankless, because when you're parenting, you enjoy what you're doing. So you're getting your reward.
Yes,
then.
it is.
And then you will have to realize that as children get older, then they're going to become opinionated. Mm-hmm. They're going to have their own feelings about life and so forth. And that's a challenge. But there's an old saying, when they're young, they pull on the apron strings, and when they're older, they pull on your heartstrings.
Yes, that's true. Or they pull on your purse strings.
Yes.
One of those two. That's where I'm at. College. Well, thank you, Mommy, for talking to me. I am excited. I hope that you all will check out the Birthright podcast episode where I get to hear my birth story. And thank you for joining us for our podcast episode extras as I talk to my mother about mothering. Thanks, everyone. Please check out the latest episode. Please be sure to subscribe while you're listening. And I look forward to our next episode. Right, Ma?
Bye.